Okay, welcome back to another episode of Ask Good Fucking Questions. Because, what else could we call it, right? We couldn't just call it the Ron Question Show. We gotta slide a fucking in there somehow, right? It's just necessary. Okay, great show. There's some longer questions than we've had in the past, but they were damn interesting. And, hey, I gotta admit, I'll just admit it. I'll come out and say it straight. I never believed that on a real estate mortgage show, we would ever have to hear about how somebody's pullout game is strong. I never thought we'd have to hear that. But here we are, and here's the show.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
My girlfriend and I were a young couple in our 20s, and we have been looking to purchase a home over the past year. We've actually found one recently in Milton. It's being sold as a power of sale, and we plan on putting an offer down about $100,000 less. And Ron, you know what? I follow your podcast and I listen to what you say.
Yeah, you're doing what we call the shit bid. Okay, so you give that lowball bid, you go right ahead, you do it.
Is now the time to purchase a property, your first property, or should we wait and see where this storm goes?
I feel absolutely convinced that the market's going to keep dropping. Okay, it's going to be dropping for most of this year. But let me say this: I don't know your personal situation. So, do you feel you're getting a good deal on this house if they take your bid?
If they take my bid, I do think it would be a good deal. I mean, I'm offering almost $110,000 less. The only thing that concerns me is, with regards to a lot more power of sales coming on the market, I just speculate, and like how you talk about mortgage rates, I just wonder, could you get a better deal? Now, I'll add something. I also own another property. I own a condominium. It's not one of the dog crates, fortunately enough, but I weigh that into.
So what's going on? What's going on with that? What's going on with that condo? Are you renting it now? Are you living in it? What's going on?
So my condo is currently rented out.
Are you making money or are you losing money on the condo?
It's positive right now, but like I was saying, Ron, I listen to what you say, and I heard what you said the other day about locking in at a fixed rate, because I'm currently at a variable rate of 4.05%. So it is positive right now, but what worries me is if the rates rise significantly, will I be negative?
Okay, look, I got a simple solution to that one. You got a shit rate at 405 variable, so you should just grab yourself you can grab yourself a 405 fixed for the next 3 years. You're good. 395. 3890, just grab a 3-year fixed, and then you can just forget about it for 3 years.
What about if everything works out with regards to putting this offer on the new property, would you go variable or fixed?
Fixed.
Alrighty, that was my main question.
Good. Well, listen, really good luck. Again, I don't know your personal situation. And it's okay to not know. But like I say, if there's a bunch of stuff that's going on in your life and you want to buy and you've got reason to buy, you can go ahead, because even though if it's 6 months from now, the place is going to sell for less. There might be reasons in your life that you need to move and you need to be there. So that's. So
I'll give you. You know what? I haven't knocked up my girlfriend, luckily.
Why? What's the matter? What's the matter? You shooting blanks? Wait a second. I got to know the truth here. You shooting blanks? I mean, you okay?
Pull-out game strong, Ron.
Okay, good to hear. Okay, good to hear. All right, so you're just not. So what's the reason to buy now? Why do you feel you want to buy now?
Honestly, I think it's just at the point where I kind of want to move out. We want to move out and live together. And,
that's the reason she's not knocked up, is because you're just scurrying between places to get together. Okay, I understand. Okay, that's fine. So that's actually a similar reason. That's a similar good reason to knocking up your girlfriend. You're tired of having to just drive around and end up sleeping in different places than going back home and all this bullshit. It's easier to be in one place. It can give you more chance of getting her knocked up. Yes, I understand this. Okay. So yeah, I endorse this idea. Be together. That's a good thing. Form a family. Family formation is a good thing. Good idea.
If I could save more money, I always want to save money. I want to keep money in my pocket, right? So if I could, if waiting 3 months gets me a better deal, I would do so. But it's so uncertain in this world today, right?
Well, listen. I mean, if you can actually snare that place for a low ass bid of 110 grand under what they're offering it for, I think you're probably doing okay. Like, honestly, you're doing okay.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, that's a good strategy.
I really appreciate it, Ron. Thank you very much. You know what? It's great advice, and I'm really appreciative that you took the time to give me the call.
My pleasure. It was a good call. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
This is a true fuckery situation where I end up getting the shit in the stick on this deal.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to be the judge of that at the end. So, yeah, it may turn out to be fuckery, but tell me the story. Let's hear it.
I partnered up with my brother, and we ended up acquiring a couple of apartment blocks.
Sorry, apartment blocks? Whereabouts?
Yes.
Where?
We're in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. So, okay, so an apartment block in Winnipeg goes for what? Like 199 and a sack of potatoes? Like, it's not that expensive, right, in Winnipeg? What is it?
It depends, really. In our scenario, it was in a D-class neighborhood. Right.
Well, a D class in Winnipeg is a Z class in Toronto, so keep on going, okay?
And there was grants involved from the government.
Of course.
We both acquired the building
Together.
We're both on the loan.
Yeah.
And it was, I believe, backed by CMHC.
Okay.
And things obviously went sour.
So went sour what? Like the building thing went sour, your relationship went sour, what the fuck went sour?
Both.
Everything went sour at once. Okay, gotcha.
Because I was going through a lot of personal issues at the time.
What happened? What was personally? Breaking up with your
health,
girl?
health
I mean, you were trying to find a new girl, or you were trying to find multiple girls? I mean, what's going on?
My wife had to go through surgery. My son had to go through surgery. Okay. My father-in-law got diagnosed with cancer. There was just a lot going on.
Definitely fuckery. Go ahead.
And then my brother was like, you know what? Like, take care of what you're going to take care of, and don't worry about like what's going on, and everything will kind of get resolved.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And then after about 6 to 8 months or so, I was getting a call from some of the trades, and they're like, hey, Joey, listen, I know you're going through some shit, but I need to get some scratch in. Mm-hmm. After from there, like, a lot of the money was getting embezzled out.
So brother was stealing your money. Was stealing CMHC, the lender's money, right? Okay, gotcha. What happened in the end? In the end, the lender's coming after you, CMHC's coming after you, and what happened? The lender
started coming after us.
Yep.
Well, because obviously the building didn't quite get fulfilled, and the money, there wasn't enough rent coming in to cover.
Yep.
And we obviously couldn't keep up. I obviously was not financially ready for any of that. I was never really the money guy at the beginning. And things just kind of broke, and he ended up selling the building on me. And that's the part that I...
Well, hold on, slow down, Joey. Like, if you were both the co-owners when you started out, you'd have to sign somewhere to sell the building.
And that's the part that I'm lost. I don't understand how he was able to sell the property off when we're both on the loan. Like we
okay, well, hold on. Were you both on the title? Were you always both on the title, or was it a corporation was on the title?
It was corporation.
Okay, so now I'm going to explain it to you. Corporation, yes. If the corporation is the owner, depending on how the wording of the corporation is set up, one person can make the decisions and sell the property, but you are both personally guaranteed the loan. This is a very common misunderstanding in the construction business, in the commercial mortgage business, is that the corporation can make decisions about buying and selling properties, but the bank or the lender always asks you to sign personally so that you're on the hook, your house is on the hook, your whole life is on the hook. That's a common feature. So, yeah, I mean, I now understand how you can sell the property because the corporation just agreed to sell it. Boom, boom, it's gone. But you're on the hook personally for the loan. So I think I'm gonna make a technical analysis of this. And don't be confused by the language we use in the real estate business. But I believe your brother is the fuckor and you are the fuckee. Does that sound right?
That's quite the way of summarizing it, sure.
Okay. So what are you trying to do to remedy the situation, or is there anything you can do? So people are coming after you for money?
We ended up losing everything.
If you are not really have expertise in doing development of properties. You might think you're in the trades and you can do construction, so you might think, oh yeah, I can do this. But really, you fucking can't. You cannot. Building a building, taking big loans, developing, working with CMHC, working with your lender. This is not for people who are just good tradespeople. They have to be great business people. And if you're just sort of on the side, or some bad personal stuff comes up that you can't pay attention, you will get fucked. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I've seen it. You're not the first one. You won't be the last one. But my message to everybody, it's a good call. It's a good question, because it allows me to tell everybody this. If you want to get involved in some kind of commercial development, you better be a fucking good business person first. Just being a tradesperson will not cut it. You need to have business knowledge. You need to be cautious of contracts. You need to thoroughly understand what the business side of building a building or fully renovating a building is commercially.
How would I have been able? Sorry to cut you off. How would I have been able to, because at the beginning he was all cooperative and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And then halfway through it is where we kind of not talking as. Yeah,
but hold on. There's a really simple answer to that. That in the beginning he's all sunshine and roses too. That everything's going to be great because you're not able, because of your situation, to pay as close attention to it. He is the one who's doing it. And he's starting to realize about halfway through that, it's a fuck up. It doesn't look like it's going to work out the way we planned. So he starts to think about, to scheme a way to maximally fuck you and save him. Okay? That's just the way life goes. And I know that sounds like a horrible thing to happen in a family, but take my word for it. In business, when families go into business together, happens every fucking day. Okay? So, look, I'm sorry for what happened to you, but it's a really clear and a great situational story that if you're going to get involved in a commercial enterprise that involves multi-million-dollar lending or lending over $1 million and building a building and managing rents, doing all these things, if you're not a business person already, don't fucking do it. It's not for you.
Is there any way that in the middle I would have been able to get out of that? Because I'm already tied to the loan. The day you signed, when everything started, you were fucked. There. You were fucked from the first day. Okay, when you signed that loan, it doesn't matter if near the end or halfway through, we were fighting. I'm like, hey, you don't want fucking out of here. I can't do that.
No, you can't do that. When you sign a personal guarantee on a business loan, there is no escape. The lender has total control. The lender has all the cards. You have none, and you can't get out once you do it.
But he can sell the property.
Sure, because in your corporate agreement, it was those kind of decisions were only. You'll find out those decisions were only required by one director. So you could have multiple directors, but if only one director is allowed to sign, you're fucked. He can do whatever he wants.
And that would have to be disclosed at the beginning.
Well, that was disclosed at the beginning. You just didn't read it all. Okay? I didn't expect you to. It's 16 pages of all this bullshit, and you're thinking, okay, well, I trust my brother. But in the end, you're screwed. Anyway, sorry this happened to you, but it's actually a great lesson about how things can go wrong. Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
I'm wondering about what one does when it's time to buy or sell a house. What does one look for in a real estate agent? How do you go about finding one who is truly interested in doing the best for their clients? It's been my experience that relying on people's family and friends tends not to work terribly well. And of course, looking at online review sections doesn't really help because those can be bought and sold. So how do you go about finding the best real estate agent for your needs?
That's a good question. I particularly like the part about friends and family being shit sources of referrals. I mean, they are typically pure shit. Okay, it's just because then you find out eventually that it's just their recommendation is actually just their cousin, in some stupid relationship. But that is a terrible way to find a real estate agent. Terrible. So let's think about possibly the best way and where to start. Look, this is going to sound a bit counterintuitive, but you got to start with the big successful agents. Now, people might stop and say, well, wait a minute, Ron, that seems like a little bit of bullshit. If they're so big, so successful, they can't particularly take good care of me. And, I don't like that. Then they farm you out to one of their team members. You're actually only dealing with a team member. All right, so let me address that. There is a goddamn good reason why they're so successful. Okay, this is the thing you got to understand. High performance is to your advantage. Okay, so if they're super successful agents, even though you might just be working with a team member, there's a dynamic of getting houses bought and sold behind that group. Okay, that's just the way it works. So look first, have a conversation with the top two or three real estate agents in your community. That's the way to go. And then if you don't like either of them, if you don't like either way those interviews went, then you can go on from there. But I know that, again, it sounds a bit counterintuitive. You might say to yourself, well, look, I want somebody who's just really going to be able to focus on me. So somebody like it's boutique and blah, blah, blah. Well, a lot of boutique real estate agents are fuckers. There's some good ones, okay? There are some good ones, absolutely. But if you want to try to have a starting point, the starting point should be, who's the top real estate agent in my area? And let me see how that interview works. Because here's the key. You're going to interview 3 or 4. That's the real way to do it. Start, arrange interviews, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Teams, whether it's in person, interview them and see if you've got rapport. But that's the way to go. Start at the top and work your way down.
When you're interviewing these people, what are a couple of questions that are very telling that you might that one might ask?
What's your marketing strategy? And listen. And if you're starting to wonder, what does that make any fucking sense? This marketing strategy they're saying, you're allowed to ask those questions like, why would you say that? Or you think that really works? Or what's your experience using that strategy? Or how does that really apply to me? Ask as many questions as you want, because that's the way to figure out if it makes sense to you. Like, you don't have to become an amateur real estate agent. That's not necessary. But any person who listens to a marketing strategy, asks checking questions as you go through that interview about the strategy, at the end of it, that's going to be how you reach a decision. And then there's 2 separate issues though. If you're selling a house, you need to really understand what they think they're going to get paid. Like today's marketplace where everybody's desperate to sell a house, I don't think you need to go beyond 1% or 1.25% to the selling agent, because you're going to work with them on the buy side too. So you've really got to stick to your guns on a lower commission proposition to sell your house. Okay. You're also going to have to pay the buy side agent full price, but you want to get the sell side agent down to a very low level. Like it shouldn't even be a discussion after 1.25%. I mean, don't even listen to all their bullshit about, I'm going to take all these pictures. It's going to be a drone fly around your house. All this. Fuck that. Okay. It's just, no, you got to work for 1.25 because I'm giving you the buy side too. So please come on, and you can negotiate some of that buy side down. But at the end of the day, they're going to make 2.5% out of the combined transactions. God damn it. That's enough. That's more than enough today. That's all that's needed. Right. All right. And then finally, if you're talking to a buy side agent, you could look them in the eye and say, hey, I'm gonna tell you what want to see you open up the bid with on, when I'm buying something. I'm gonna tell you how much I want to shit bid or low ball or whatever I want to do. You can have a rational conversation with me, but we've got to agree now in advance. I'm the final decision maker. I am the final decision maker on what you're offering. And if you want, and if you start to hear more pushback at that point, maybe you should think about talking to the next one.
Ron, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time for this.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
We currently own a home, and we are going to be needing to upgrade our home. Basically, more bedrooms, more space, more, ideally, a little bit of land or a big backyard or something like that as well. And we're kind of wondering, when would be a good time to upgrade? Because we're in Southern Ontario and we're looking to stay in Southern Ontario, but a home with a couple extra bedrooms and more space and more land seems to be quite a big ask in terms of price. And we know we're not going to get as much as we had hoped for the place that we're currently in, but wondering kind of like when would be a good time to upgrade? Like, should we look to upgrade sometime soon, or should we look to upgrade, sometime down the line?
That's a good question. Just let me ask you a couple of things. So, whereabouts are you right now? Just like, sort of like the town. That's all.
Yeah, we're in Hamilton.
Okay. So, were you looking to get out of Hamilton? Maybe a little bit out of Hamilton, or stay in Hamilton?
Yeah, I mean, ideally a little bit out of Hamilton, but stay within about an hour.
I gotcha. Oh, an hour. An hour takes you all the way down to Niagara. No problem. Okay. So, or you could go all the way up to like Cambridge and stuff. All right. I get it. So, and there's the reason for more
not quite that far, but yeah.
Okay.
Probably
So
the rural in between. Yeah.
The reason for more bedrooms. What's the reason for more bedrooms?
We're looking to. Well, we're going to be growing our family bigger, so we need more space and working from home and things like that.
Okay, listen, kudos to you. We need more people knocking out kids in Canada. So good on you. You should be proud of yourselves. Just keep on doing it. Keep on producing kids. It's important. So yeah, you do need some more bedrooms. Listen, I know you could wait another 6 months. I believe that prices will still continue to drift down in the next 6 months. Now, here's one thing to understand about the formula of when you want to upgrade your house. So you want a little bit bigger house, a little bit more expensive house. So here's the thing. Yes, in 6 months, you're going to get a little bit less money for your house. But your house is the smaller house, right? The less expensive house, correct? Okay. Mm-hmm. So the thing about it is the bigger house has more of a price reduction. Let me give you an example. So you want to sell a house for like $499. And buy a house for like $699, $729. The bottom line is that you're going to bid on that house even more aggressively low and see if you can get it. Like, you got to understand the price reduction. That house that you're bidding on for $729, like in 2021, it sold for $1.1 million. It sold for $1 million. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the point is when you're upgrading, as long as you've got enough money to make a decent down payment, you are actually in the position of advantage because the upgraded house, the bigger house, the nicer house has fallen in value more since 2021. It might still be 20% down on both, like your house and that house might be down 25%, but the more expensive house has fallen more in actual dollars. It's much lower in dollars. It's to your advantage in dollars. So by all means, that is the way to look at it. You have to do a good budget. You have to make sure that you understand exactly what your payments are going to be. And there's probably going to be a bit more maintenance with a larger piece of property, bigger yard, all the rest of it. So you've got to accept that. And you've got to carefully budget to make sure you've got enough down payment that you could easily handle the monthly payments. But don't think about it as if it's like you're going to take a big loss on your house. You will get a lower price for your house in 6 months, of course, but in terms of the ratio of larger to smaller, the bigger house is actually going to take the bigger hit over the course of the next 6 months. So that's where it's to your advantage.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. In terms of outlook, do you think that this is something that we should probably be looking to make a more immediate push towards upgrading? Or are you kind of thinking like ideally in the next year and a half, we would need to make the move?
Well, I can only see I can only see 6 months ahead. That's all any rational person can say is 6 months ahead. Yeah. And I would tell you that in 6 months, both properties are going to be worth less, which again is that if you apply that ratio, it gives you a certain degree of advantage. But look, I don't think there's anything magical about a year and a half from now to 6 months from now. I think eventually the degree, like the steepness of the decline starts to flatten out. Sooner or later, prices flatten out. They don't necessarily go up. Don't believe any of these lying realtors who say it's turning around and the market's going to take off. That is a complete lie. The reality is it flattens before it goes up. So it's just keep checking in over the 6 month mark. Feel free to send us a note, a message, anything. But I can tell you this, it's not going to go up in the next 6 months. The only reasonable thought is it's going to go down.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That's kind of my thought as well.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye now.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
Okay, we have an email in question. Do you know about halal mortgages and how are they different from conventional mortgages? What do you think of them?
A halal mortgage is a mortgage that's designed to fit with certain requirements of certain people in the Muslim faith. So the idea is that you can't give interest or receive interest, that it's forbidden. It's haram. You can't do it. So does that scare people that I know a little bit of the Arabic side of this thing? That's wild, right? Anyway, the concept is much misunderstood. It's much misunderstood. So people sometimes get the idea that a halal mortgage is some kind of advantage being given to people of the Muslim faith who believe that okay, it's the government, treating them better than the regular people because there's no interest. That's the key thing. There's no interest in a halal mortgage. But there is tons of fees and costs. Okay, that's the difference. That's the thing to understand. Everybody's going to pay. There's going to be something that seems like interest, that has the appearance of interest, that is in fact a worse deal, a higher cost than you're going to get if you went just straight to a bank for a mortgage. And that's why it should not be misunderstood. There is absolutely no advantage in terms of price, cost, or rate to anyone who gets a halal mortgage. It just is a contract that is structured in a way so it doesn't appear that any interest is being charged. But there's a ton of charges, fees, costs, administration. You may actually be in a situation where you don't end up owning the house until it's finally paid off, that you don't fully own the house. But I just want people to understand, I want Canadians to understand that when you hear the term halal mortgage, that there's absolutely no advantage that the people who choose to take a halal mortgage are getting. In fact, they are paying more. It's just designed in a way to support the idea that people are not directly paying interest. That's all it is. Don't think it's some kind of trick that favors people of the Muslim faith. It is not that at all.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
Whatever happened to just home builders where, like, the government, the city, whatever municipality takes land, develops it, people can buy that land, not at a discounted rate, full rate, and a home builder can come in and just build what they want, not some extravagant mansion, where all the equity has been put into it. People don't get an opportunity like the houses where I live now. Everything's getting put with a basement. Who wants a brand new house with a basement?
Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, but what you're talking about has been effectively dead in Canadian real estate for maybe 45 years.
I understand that.
It's just dead because here's what happened. The city, all municipalities, every municipality particularly across Ontario, British Columbia, they decided they didn't want to get into the developing location businesses themselves. They liked the idea of, we're going to make the builders pay everything and then give us a huge development fee. Like it would be profit in our genes to have builders pay everything. And at that point, the whole idea of having the municipality try to set aside tracts of land to assign individual lots, it was gone. It just disappeared. It went out the window. And the other problem was that financing became a bit of a difficulty. Because cities spend so much money on stupid shit, they didn't have enough money to do that kind of thing. So to your point, in its day, it wasn't a terrible idea, but the whole dynamic of how you build new development now has changed so much. And it's so fucked up. Like if you take Ontario, for example, there's the green belt that's just totally stupid. And yet it's stayed on the books for 22 years or more. And it locks in everything and makes everything too expensive. But to your point, yeah, there was a time where you could say, well, listen, why can't I just buy a lot in it? Why can't the city just say, hey, we got these 150 lots up for sale and you buy the lot and then you hire a contractor, build the house you want. Why did that disappear? Because the cities found they could make more money from dealing just straight with developers. That's the real story.
Yeah, I just don't see where the bottom is going to start for people getting into an actual home, a house that becomes a home, because townhouses, they're fucking garbage, Ron. You know that.
Hold on. I gotta stop you there. If you see what a dog crate condo looks like, you will understand what the actual fucking garbage in the residential real estate business is. Like a bad townhouse is so much fucking better than a dog crate condo. You can't believe it, okay? Look, I mean, yes, there's a tremendous quality difference between certain types of townhouses. Some of them are great, and particularly some of the stacked ones are fucked up. I'm going to give you credit on that. You're right. But nothing is as bad as dog crate condos. And we have built like 300,000 dog crate condos in Southern Ontario in the last 10 years. And that's the real source of shame. The source of shame is the dog crate condo more than anything else.
Those condos 50 years from now, what the HOA fees are going to be, people are going to be dying in those, and their kids are going to be inheriting that HOA fee because they're not going to be able to sell those things.
Listen, the bottom line is this. Some of these units, some of these condo buildings may be the ghettos of the future. They may be. I mean, you're not far off on that. But the ultimate truth is that they're not going to build any more of them on the basis they did in the past. I mean, I think this is a failed experiment. We're not going to see any more mom and pop investors buy dog crate condos anymore. I think it's a failed experiment, and we're not going to see it again. But you raised a good point. Would it be better if people could just buy a lot at a rational price and hire a contractor and build the house they like? That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion.
I call it bring back the bungalow.
Bring back the bungalow. But here's the deal. The cities and towns don't want it because they want to make this huge, huge fucking development fee. They want to get 150, 200, 300 grand out of building everything new. And that's just...
Well, shame on them.
Yeah, the city is a vampire squid on the fucking necks of homeowners. Yes, you're correct. But they won't change their mind anytime soon. So your idea is solid, but it's something that our city governments are going to prevent from ever happening. But it's a good call. Thank you very much.
You have a great day.
You too.
Good fucking questions. Come on.
Yeah, so the question obviously was with regards to mortgages and why there's maybe an assumed understanding from mortgage companies that if we had two mortgages and they needed to close on a new property, why the confirmation of insurance from our side on insurance would kind of cover those two mortgages.
Okay, let me try to break the question down. So if you want to have a first mortgage with, say, a prime lender and a second mortgage with another lender, is that what we're talking about here? You're buying a house and you need two mortgages to get it to work, right?
Yeah, basically. And maybe I wasn't... I maybe didn't explain that right too. So on the insurance side, we get obviously, a request for a binder saying, can you obviously show guaranteed replacement cost and make sure that both the mortgage amounts are covered. But there was obviously times, and there still is times, where if the home is not, we look at replacement cost, obviously, right? Not the mortgage amount. We would be asked to basically cover that full mortgage amount, even if it was well above, what the rebuild cost was on a home.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like this. The mortgage company, the lender, and any institutional lender, they just adopt a very, very standard approach to house insurance. And their standard approach means that they want to have themselves covered in the maximal way. Like, we don't care. We don't care whether it's realistic. We don't care whether it costs you more money. We don't care about any of those things. We just want the maximum amount of insurance that can be put on the house. And if that's full replacement cost, then that's what we want. You got, the thing as far as a lender is concerned is we just want the best possible coverage because we want to make sure if the house burns down, we are always in a perfect position. And that can sort of lean into some ridiculousness. I was just talking to a guy the other day who sadly his house burnt down. He only owed like $160 on it. The replacement value is like $840. So
right.
Like, you're right. It doesn't make a shit ton of sense. I'm not arguing with you. But in the end, that's what the lender wants. And there's certain things that a lender wants. Like if they want just this exact kind of insurance, or they want this precise type of title insurance, there's no escape because there's no human being who is working at the lender can authorize a change. These things come right down from the top of the bank. And they become absolutely part of the conditions of the mortgage. They're just boilerplate conditions. They can't be changed. And to even try to ask for a change, in the end, the bank just laughs and says, no, we would need a board of directors meeting to change this. So we're not going to do that for your house. Okay. This is the sad truth of dealing with these companies, but it's just necessary. In some ways, it saves you money. Believe it sounds strange, but in some ways it saves you money, because by having every single thing to be simply cut and dried, it's the same for everybody. It's cookie cutter. It does end up saving a bit of time on the production of the mortgage, and time is money, and you get a little bit better deal. I would tell you this. Mortgage rates in Canada are actually sort of competitive. I mean, yeah, there's only 5 or 6 big banks, a couple of other big lenders, but they do fight on rate. So they're never going to change their conditions. They're never going to change title insurance requirements. They're never going to change insurance requirements. They just don't care. You're never going to have any good outcome there.
Right. Well, that at least that helps answer the constant challenge we battle against on the insurance side.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's good. It's a good question, by the way. We don't get questions like that. It's a good one. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. Okay, there is a show. I mean, there was some wild moments, I got to admit. There was some good information given out. There's actually a question in there I've never heard of before. I hadn't thought, it never came up before. I hadn't thought about it. It was the insurance question. I never thought about it before. It was a good point, and it's interesting. Yeah, it is if you're buying a house. It's interesting to think about the house insurance. Okay, and finally, to sign off on the show, I still didn't believe that I'd have to think about your pullout game is strong on a mortgage real estate show. It's a pip, I'll tell you.